Hi, today's video we're talking about creativity and the subconscious mind. And I got a nice piece of research which backs up the fact that the subconscious mind is really the center of creativity. We have to work with the subconscious mind to be more creative and have more insights in our life, which of course will empower our life. Hi, today we're taking a look at some research which will actually prove that the subconscious mind is the source of insight, and really that it's regardless of cognitive overload, we can still access insight. And of course, this leads to the question of how do we access insight? Okay, so here's the article. We have it. Here's the publication: pubmed.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. The aha moment is insight, a different form of problem solving. So we have here, we talk about solving problems in everyday life. So what they actually did was they took the various participants and they got them to solve 70 word puzzles that can either be solved with insight or non-insight. For each puzzle, participants indicated word puzzle difficulty, solution confidence, solution suddenness, and the experience of impasse and restructuring. As expected, participants reported higher suddenness of and confidence in insight solutions than non-insightful ones. Surprisingly, we could not corroborate the otherwise consistently reported higher solution accuracy and faster solution for insight. Crucially, as suggested by the integrated theory of insight, impasse was not a prerequisite for insight to occur. So basically, they threw a bunch of kind of quizzes at people and made it difficult. Okay, we have here the Scientific American that gives some overviews of it. All right, so let's take a look here. You can be overloaded by all this stuff, cell phone numbers, whatever. So giving people numbers to remember while doing it. And the idea was that they would have to try and remember the numbers at the end of doing the word puzzle. But the strange thing, what they had is that they would have to, if the answer to the puzzle was through an insight and aha moment, they would have to note that down. What they discovered is regardless of cognitive overload, the task was to find a fourth word that pairs with each of them. So it was carried in Dutch, but if it was English, the example might be artist, hatch, root, and the answer being escape, because escape artist, escape hatch, and escape root. Meanwhile, they all have to memorize numbers. They have down here 105 undergraduates, most of them women, had up to 25 seconds to solve each problem. After typing an answer, they had to indicate whether they had reached with an aha or without that, okay? So that's like the sudden inspiration, okay? They were divided into three groups. The first group has just the puzzles. The second group has random numbers that flashed that they had to remember. And then the third had to recall these. The third group was identical to the second, except the people had to try to remember 4 digits instead of 2. So you have a group with no digits to remember, a group with 2 digits to remember, and a group of 4. So they're creating cognitive overload, okay? The purpose of making people remember random numbers was to burden their mind with unrelated tasks, which was expected to interfere with the conscious problem solving. These cognitive resources, this pool that we can tap in to do consciously is limited. We only have so much conscious resources. The question was whether insightful thinking will be similarly affected, okay? So what they discovered was that when people relied on insight, people were doing more of an aha moment. Their success was actually higher. These participants actively completed 17 and 19 puzzles on average in all three groups. Whether they don't have the memory task or they have a low demand memory task or a high demand memory task, the number of puzzles they solve with insight remains constant. That's the most interesting result. A significant amount of brain activity is unconscious. That is why we can seemingly drive to work automatically and why we're not always aware of the biases that affect our decisions. But cognitive psychologists disagree about whether actual reasoning can occur below the level of awareness. There's so much debate within the literature, Stuck says. That's the Hans Stuck, who's the leader of the project. Stuck believes that during moments of insight, there is give and take between conscious and unconscious processes. For example, people attempt the puzzle pine crab sauce, multiple word associations get activated, but only the strongest are accessible to the conscious mind. If the correct answer happens to be a weaker association, people may feel stuck, he says. If beneath the surface, unbeknownst to them, their mind may be ushering it into awareness. The answer, by the way, is Apple, she says here. Trying to find a creative solution to a problem is like trying to see a dim star at night, says Mark Beeman, a cognitive neuroscientist at Northwestern University. You have to kind of look at it out of the corner of your mind. Insights typically occur after someone ponders a problem for a while and then puts it aside, Beeman says. Once the foundation has been laid through conscious mental effort, a stroll, a nap, or distracting task seems to enable a creative breakthrough, one that is typically accompanied by feelings of satisfaction and certainty. Okay, and then it goes on to some technical details about it. So what's the relevance of this idea of insight and cognitive overload? So what it's suggesting is that our insight is not linked to our cognitive overload. So whether we're working mentally very hard or not, insight continues regardless. What it suggests is that the mind is actually working at a deeper level. And this gets back to how do we tap into creativity and how do we work efficiently as human beings? Okay, so we have here a diagram of the conscious mind and subconscious mind. So on the conscious mind, we've got willpower, short-term memory, logical thinking, critical thinking. On the subconscious mind, we got beliefs, we got emotions, we got habits, values, long-term memory, imagination, and intuition, okay? So basically, an awful lot of what's going on is going on below the surface. The guy here called Bob Proctor, who is a popular self-help guru. He was in The Secret movie. And but he's got some interesting ideas about how the mind works and the nature of paradigm and so on. So let's take a look at what he's suggesting. Here's his diagrams that Bob Proctor comes up with. And he has the idea that this is your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and this is basically your body, okay? So ideas go in here into your conscious mind, and then you program your subconscious mind, okay? And then they create the reality that we live in. But the problem that we have is you as an infant, you don't have this conscious mind. So when you're born, this conscious mind has discernment. There's no real discernment when you're born. And it develops, he would suggest, over 5 years. I think it would be more like around 7 or 8 years would be what most psychologists would believe. So basically, you're just taking in programming for these 4, 6, 7 years of life, and you don't agree or disagree. And some of the programming is good, some is bad. And so we're already pre-programmed at this early stage of life. And so your mind is working away on things. And when you work efficiently on things, you can have amazing insights. I'll give you some more examples here. So here we have Dmitri Mendeleev. He's the father of the periodic table, and he was struggling to understand how the periodic table worked. And he was working very hard, and one night he had a dream, and in the dream he saw a chest of drawers and realized, oh, just like clothes are different compartments in the chest of drawers, so the elements, are in different parts of the periodic table. Another example we have is Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr was basically, he came up with the electron shell theory, and he basically had a dream where he saw electrons going around in a circle, okay, and realized that they belonged to a shell. So the one thing in common with both of these men was that they worked very hard and they both had a dream. So what's actually happening, if we go back to our earlier diagram here, is that they're continually thinking about their scientific work. And they're continually programming the subconscious mind. And then the subconscious mind sets it about working towards solving your problem. Okay? So if we go back to our iceberg, the conscious mind's job is it's the thinker, and the subconscious mind's job is a doer. Your job as subconscious mind, I mean, for example, you have amazing volition, the power to think about things, to cogitate, and use your ego. We tend to think of ego as in bad terms, egomaniac, but we can use our ego in a very positive way to decide to be an active agent to change the world. But we can't concentrate for a long time. Just like how long can you run a sprint for? Maybe 100 meters, 150 meters, because you got maybe about 20 seconds of ATP, When you're sprinting, you're using ATP. After that, you go on to glycogen, okay? So you can only sprint for a short time. The conscious mind can only work for a short time. So what we're supposed to do is focus very hard on the conscious mind, and then we're supposed to program the subconscious mind. And then the subconscious mind is supposed to do the work along the way. Now, this explains why in this work over here, why the aha moment is insight, a different form of problem solving, and you talk about cogitation. The reason why is that it doesn't matter how hard you work or don't work here. The real problem solving is actually taking place here. There's far more capacity in your subconscious mind to do work. And your role is to program, to give the subconscious mind work to do, but then how do you do it? And that's the real challenge of creativity. So the real challenge of creativity is not to solve things in your conscious mind. Your conscious mind ain't as creative as we think. Your conscious mind thinks mainly in words, subconscious mind mainly in visual images, emotions, and intuitions. So you're going to get a lot more creativity down here. You might have noticed when you go into the hypnagogic stage, for example, as you drift off, all sorts of weird dreams and stuff like that. That's coming straight from this mind, the subconscious mind that works through association. So what this research has shown is that the creative mind is not located in the conscious mind. The fact that cognitive overload is not affected suggests that they're not connected in that way. So what's very exciting about this sort of research is it's proving that the insight is not coming from your conscious mind. And what we really have to think about creativity is, how do I use my subconscious mind to solve problems and give me insights and give me new ideas and possibilities? And really, we have to figure out ways of working together with our subconscious mind. There's a lot of videos I have talking about the subconscious mind on this channel, but that is the key thing, is how to get the two to work together. In the next video, I'm going to give an overview of how we can work more efficiently with our subconscious mind. So please tune into that video. I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe if you do, and I'll talk to you next time.